it's certainly good to see as many a member of the media here this morning. I mean, you know, this is the kind of stuff that we at Grambling need, and it's certainly good to see you back, and for me to be back to see it. I think that's the most important thing. With you know, no further ado, we all know that this week start our season with Alcorn, and I think everybody understands that game. You know, Melvin Spears, who just happened to be my mama's nephew, and my first cousin, is the head coach of Alcorn. And you know, when I look at this situation, it's not Doug going against Melvin as much as Grambling Tigers playing Alcorn. And I think that's the perspective that we're trying to keep it in. That's the perspective that we're going to keep it. You know, I look at it as a football game that we at Grambling need to be ready to play and need to win in order to accomplish some of the things that we're looking forward to, and that is the opportunity to try to get back to Birmingham. And just so happened, Memphis Fields is bringing the Alcorn team in here to play us, and we're looking at it from that standpoint only. And with no further ado, any questions, we can go from there.
What do you expect offensively, Doug, from them? What will Melvin do? Is old Melvin routine?
Melvin not going to change for what he's always been. You know, when he was here with me the first time and after I left, and what he's tried to implement at Alabama State. The one thing he got going for him that we hope to get going for us, he has a young gunslinger in Air Canada who has played a year to throw the football. So as far as he's concerned, I'm sure he thinks he's in hog heaven, and he got Bruce Eugene coaching him. So there's no doubt in my mind that he'll try to fool us with a run every now and then, but Melvin wants to throw the football, and I'm sure he got enough weapons over there to get that done. Hopefully we can contend against that.
Well, how do you contend against that, Doug? I mean, is it going to be your pass rush, your secondary? Which do you feel like is going to play into your hands more?
Well, I think we all realize in order to have a decent secondary, you better have a decent front seven. And I think we got a pretty good front seven. Hopefully we can get the pressure on Air Canada and make him throw some errant passes. We don't know, but that's certainly going to be the game plan to make sure we don't let him just hurt us. But the thing about him also, he can hurt you with his legs. You know, you're talking about a good athlete who can run. Last year he popped a 7-8 yarder on Mississippi State running. So we're going to try to corral him the best we possibly can.
How familiar have you guys gotten with your new pro-style offense?
Oh, we still got a ways to go. We haven't played a game yet. And this week, like I said, we got a young guy at quarterback. DJ going to be the quarterback. Haven't took a snap in front of over 20,000 people in his whole life. And, you know, the most important thing here is to check his socks and make sure they're not wet before the game starts. If it's not wet, we might have a chance.
What's the biggest crowd you said he's played against, from?
Oh, man, where? He's probably 400. No, when in high school, we probably had about 2,500 or something like the state championship game. But other than that, you know, he hadn't seen that type of crowd. And the pressure hadn't been what it's going to be on him.
How have you seen DJ kind of improve and kind of win this starting quarterback job?
Well, I think the key here is, you know, not to get into all the exploits and everything. DJ got an opportunity to practice in the spring, and Frank didn't. And I think that in itself gave him a thumbs up. Not that Frank hadn't had a good camp, it's just that when you look at the whole picture, and I think every coach down there would probably look at it from the same perspective that I do, and it's certainly not a one-man decision. Matter of fact, Roger just come out and picked me up the whole offense was in there. We was talking, and I think they all feel the same way, that because of the experience of the spring, probably prepared DJ more than anything.
Is DJ the quarterback, or is Frank going to get some snaps in this game, or is it DJ's to lose?
Well, I always say the quarterback. Now, you know, during the course of the game, anything can happen, but I don't want any quarterback to go in and think that, you know, you have to look over his shoulder. I don't think that's fair to any kid or anybody who's playing that position to worry about whether or not I'm going to get yanked.
You've been in a few big games. What kind of advice do you give DJ?
I try to stay out of DJ's way, and I think it's good, and he tried to stay out of my way. You know, like last night, I came in and I watched the tape from Saturday, And I did call him and got on him about some things. And he didn't see it, but I dropped the tape off to him. And he came in this morning and tell me he understood where I was coming from. But I don't think I can give him any advice. I think it's just like when I started playing, it's something that you got to learn. And, you know, we're playing with a true freshman, and hopefully he got a long ways to go. And as he goes, he'll learn a lot of things.
Has DJ's mom put pressure on you to start DJ?
Wow. Man, I haven't talked to his mom since the Last Supper, so I don't know. No, not at all.
You and Coach Spears is first cousins, correct?
Yeah.
Has there been any previous battles between you two guys, and who's got the best of who?
No, Melvin and I never played against each other in high school. I'm a little older than he is. Never coached against each other. But like I said, at the end of the day, this is not about Melvin and Doug. This is about Alcorn and Grambling. And I think that's the most important thing.
Starting off a game with two big-time conference rivals, how much does a win or loss make or break your season from game one?
Well, you know, this is nothing new because even back in the old days, Grambling and Alcorn, you start the season off. So to me, it's just getting back to old days, and whoever win this game, give them a thumbs up in the race and to keep going forward. And whoever loses has to play catch-up. And I certainly would like to be in a position to keep going forward rather than playing catch-up.
Coach, getting an opportunity to play in Shreveport, obviously where there's a huge alumni base for Grambling, how does that sit for you, knowing that you get to play in front of such a large crowd and of course, recruiting in that area as well?
Certainly, to get an opportunity to play in Shreveport is great for us at Grambling because of the alumni. We just hope, at the bottom line, that we can continue to play in Shreveport. And in order to do that, we certainly got to get help from the Shreveport area, the community, the city, and everybody else involved, because I think it's important to be able to play a game up there. But we certainly would like the help of the citizens of Shreveport and the administration of Shreveport to make sure we continue to play that game.
I'm sure it's big for recruiting too, because you guys get a lot of kids from that area, have a chance to have them come out just right down the street and see you guys.
Well, it is a recruiting tool, but you know, if we're playing a game in Shreveport without the resources, it don't help us recruiting because we won't have anything to recruit with. But we like to see a good turnout, and hopefully this week, you know, we get upward to 40,000, hopefully, and if we do that, it'll be good for the city, and the city say, you know, we need Grambling back in here every year. Hopefully it'll be like that.
When's the last time you talked to Melvin, Doug? When?
Oh, what's the day? Might need to talk to Melvin on Saturday.
No.
Now we don't talk about football. You know,
Okay,
we was actually talking about extending this game in Shreveport and what they have to do, what we have to do to make sure it keeps going. And I certainly hope we don't want the conference to make schedules for us. I certainly hope that we can be able to make our own schedule and Alcorn is such a natural rivalry for us that we can't afford to let that game go down deep in the season. That game should be played early like it always has been.
Alcorn State has a few Grambling grads on their roster. One in which you coach Bruce Eugene. How do you feel? Do you feel like he has any of your schemes or tactics? Do you know?
You know what? It's certainly great to see Tremont Douglas and Bruce Eugene to get in the coaching business. And I think, you know, for Melvin to be the head coach at Alcorn and for Heiss Norton to be the head coach at Prairie View, I think it speaks volume of what we was able to accomplish here the 6 years I was here, that off their staff, two guys are head coaches and guys that play assistant coaches, just like Von Brown is assistant coach here, and I got Pearson back here. So, you know, to see those guys doing what we did and they feel like that they want to be a part of that fraternity, I think speaks volume.
Do you think he understands some of your schemes or tactics that y'all going to be doing in the game?
Well, you know what? It's kind of like back in the old days. We ran the wing team up under Coach Robinson, and everybody we played knew he was going to run the wing team. But at the end of the day, Coach Rob used to always say, if you execute, it don't matter. And we just want to execute. If we execute, it don't matter what scheme he knows, but the key is, do you know when it's coming?
Is coaching Grambling like riding a bike, Doug? You know, it's kind of, you're back here, buddy.
I don't want to say it's like riding a bike, but I could say this, you know, for me, this is the third time being a part of Grambling Athletics as a player and 2 times as a coach. And it's certain to be able to come back. You know, it's not often that people get a chance to come back. I think what it tells you, whatever bridge you cross, you let it stand. You didn't burn it. But to come back and understand the Grambling family, and we got a lot of work to do in Grambling for that athletic department, and I think we got to start somewhere, and it's good to be back.
Obviously, you weren't out of football completely or anything like that. What will it be like to finally be back down on the sideline coaching in an actual game?
Well, for the last 7 years, you're right, I wasn't out of football, but it's a little different when you're part of everything that happens in the locker room. You know, it's good to sit in the office and watch tape and give your opinion and write reports and all that, but being in this position is a little different. I think the most joy that I've had since I've been back here since March is not so much on the field coaching the guys that's on the field as much as the guys that have played for you coming back and saying, Coach, we're glad you're back, and then talking to them knowing that they left here and doing good for themselves. You know, we got 2 guys that are head coaches, like John Brantley and Lex Robinson are head coaches in this area. Levi Washington is coaching, and you know, that's what it's all about, that guys like that can come back and tell you how much they enjoyed it when they was here, but at the same time doing good things for themselves.
Looking at Alcorn's defense, they got 16 linebackers. You think there's some Coach Roach madness, or is there some science to the madness?
Well, I like to see them play 11 at a time, 11 linebackers. That'd be pretty good. You know, only thing about it, only 3 or 4 can play at a time if that's the scheme that they're playing. But, you know, I miss Coach Roach coaching over there too, you know, and to me, we're going to be Grambling going against Grambling, Mississippi when it comes to the coaching staff. And it's going to be interesting. You know, Mike Roach was the defensive coordinator here for the years I was here. And it's going to be fun. I talked to Mike about a week and a half ago, and I told him he don't answer my phone calls no more. And I don't know what that's about.
Doug, you talked about media day when we were over here, this being a hype game. How do you balance the emotions of going into your opener against a game that is going to be a rivalry game and very hyped up?
Well, number one, I think I'm fortunate that, you know, I've been in big games from an emotional standpoint. Now, these guys haven't been in big games. That's a whole different ball game, and those are the guys that's going to be playing. And we talked the other day about, you know, handling this whole situation, because I do feel there's going to be a lot of hype in the atmosphere. And what we don't want to do, we don't want to be the one to do the hyping. We want to be able to be calm and collected and go out and play football and go from there. But it's going to be hard for guys that are 18, 19, 20 years old to channel that hype. And how they do it, we'll find out on Saturday.
Coach, can you touch a little bit on the conference itself and kind of how you see the conference right now? I mean, there's a couple of teams that can't play for championships. Southern comes to mind, which obviously is a big thing with you guys and then later on down the road. But do you think that the conference is moving in the right direction or maybe stalled a little bit, or what's your opinion on that?
Well, number one, it's unfortunate that Jackson and Southern cannot compete for championships because those two schools has been a major part of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. You know, for years it came down to us and Southern. And on the East, it always was Jackson was in that race, and it's unfortunate those guys would not be able to compete for the conference. As far as the conference itself, you know, and I might get in a little trouble, but what the heck, I always get in trouble. It's we need a little work. You know, I think it's some things that's been handed down to the schools that I think is unfortunate when it comes to historical black colleges. You know, they're taking some things away from the kids, not me as a coach or not the school. You know, when you tell a kid he can't spat, well, you know, black college has been about spat. It's about how you look. And I think it's unfortunate that, you know, out of the commissioner's office that they've eliminated that part of the game. And it don't make you play better, but it certainly makes them guys feel better. As a coach, you know, when you're walking down that tunnel and going out to the field, you want them to feel better. You want them to feel good about themselves, how they look and how they dress. And I think we've taken that away from them, and that's something that we can't do. Because it's about the kids. It ain't about us. It ain't about the administration. It's about the kids having fun. So But I still think we got a little work to do to get the SWAC conference up to snuff.
Has the NCAA kind of hamstrung you guys, you think, more than any other league out there in, FCS or FBS?
I think they have. Number one, they've taken away the opportunity to get your kids together in one hotel the night before the game. Told we can't live off campus the night before the game, go to the hotel, and we don't have an athletic dorm. So from that standpoint, you really got these kids living, all over town and Ruston and apartments, and it's tough when you can't get them all together at one time. We got to find a way to try to fix that, and I don't know how we do it, but we're working on it to try to make it work in our favor.
Any more questions?
How do you feel about finally getting a chance to coach your son?
Finally getting a chance to coach him? I don't look at it that way, and I think he would answer to the same text that he just happened to be a player on his team, and I just happened to be coach. And I told him before the season started, that's going to be some time I'm going to be dad, and some times I'm going to be coach. But as long as he's in his building, I'm coach. If he come to the house, I can be